are brainwashing you. They are brainwashing you. They're brainwashing you. The media does this so perfectly. The best form of manipulation is repetition. That's why when you see commercials, they repeat a certain slogan over and over again, or show a certain image over and over again, because that is the best way to program it into your mind. They're so powerful, you probably have a lot of them in your mind, whether you're aware of it or not. For example, I'll hum a couple tunes and see if you can recognize which advertisements they are. So if you guessed Farmers Insurance and Speedway, that means brainwashing has occurred. Now, brainwashing has a very negative stereotype, and while that is probably for good reason, because brainwashing can be used to manipulate people in a very, very bad way, you can also utilize brainwashing for your benefit. Now, what do I mean? Well, your brain is always being washed, whether you're aware of it or not. For example, your brain is in a constant state of being brainwashed. That means whatever stimulus and media you interact with on a daily basis, that's what's going to create new pathways in your brain, and that's what's going to determine the sort of thoughts and emotions that you have. So that is why it is so important that you audit which things you are subjecting yourself to on a regular basis and how those are affecting the way you feel and the results you're getting and the way you act. One example of brainwashing that a lot of us has received is, think back to the food pyramid. The food pyramid, if you can remember, there were different levels of how much types of foods you're supposed to have in your diet. And at the bottommost level, the biggest portion, it was grains and pasta. Well, if you know anything about gluten and carbohydrates like that, they actually increase the level of inflammation in your body. And this image was put all over the place. I remember there being food pyramid signs all over our cafeteria in school, and we were even taught in class this. It was just this repetitive image that was telling us how we're supposed to think about eating and dieting. If you know anything about inflammation, you know that is the biggest cause of all illnesses, including cancer. So this is just another reason why it is so important that you're aware of how you're being brainwashed so that you can turn the tides and regain the power of your brain and wash it the way you want it to be, so that after the brainwash cycle, your mind is clean rather than dirty. Now, brainwashing can actually be insanely useful and a very positive force if you use it correctly. For example, if you brainwash yourself into the habit of the first thing you do when you wake up is meditate or journal or take a cold shower, that's really gonna help you with controlling your emotions and feeling more grounded and centered. And you had to brainwash yourself into repeatedly engaging with this activity to make it a habit and to make it something that is just so implanted in your brain. It's just normal and it's just something that you do. Now imagine that every time you felt fear, you brainwashed yourself into linking that fear into excitement. Imagine how much easier it would be to overcome your fears. Anytime a new challenge would come up that would make you afraid, like, I don't know if I can do this, you would instantly feel excited, and then you'd be ready to just tackle the challenge and just do it anyways. Now imagine if all of the things you're afraid of doing now that you know are important and you might be procrastinating on, that when you've thought about it, instead you felt ready to do it. You felt ready to take action. Imagine the results you could get. Imagine you want to get a raise from your boss at work, but you're afraid of just having that conversation and asking for more money. Well, if you, instead of that fear, felt excitement, you'd probably bring a lot better energy to that conversation and be a lot more likely to get that raise. Also, if you see somebody who you think is attractive and you want to talk to, well, instead of feeling fear, you'd feel excited to go up and meet them and to engage in that conversation. Now imagine how much powerful that would be versus the latter, versus being afraid of what they think of you or afraid of what may happen. Imagine those results. Unbelievable. That is why you need to utilize the power of brainwashing. Okay, so I get the power of brainwashing and why it's so important to be aware of it, but Oliver, how do I brainwash myself? So the moment
you that blissful feeling you get when you're having an afternoon nap and you're drifting in and out of a dreamy state, neither awake nor asleep, but somewhere in between. Well, that meditative state is when you're experiencing theta brainwaves. And within this state, your body and mind can go through an optimal reprogramming and healing process. Theta is a gateway to your creativity, learning, intuition, and it allows you to access the power of your unconscious mind, which you can't access when you're in a more alert thinking state. There are certain times when you're most likely to be in the theta wave state. For example, daydreaming, or in meditation, or the first thing when you wake up in the morning, or right before you're about to fall asleep when you're very, very relaxed.
A really useful thing you can do, and it's something that I've used for some intense personal growth with amazing results for my own life, was using a recording and listening to it every night before bed. This recording was basically positive affirmations and good beliefs and thoughts that I wanted to incorporate into my life. Things like love is the most important thing, and to bring more joy and gratefulness into my life, and many other positive messages like that. So during that period, it was a period of around 3 months, I was listening to that tape every single night when I went to bed, and every day first thing in the morning. And that was one of the most growth-filled periods of my life so far. And another way you can brainwash yourself to have the right beliefs is actually through mantra meditation. And now, I know I've talked badly about mantra meditation before, but that's because there's two main distinctions between what it is and what it isn't. The way you want to do it is get yourself into that theta wave state through meditation and think to yourself this same affirmation over and over again. However, you must be in that theta wave state for it to work. And if you're not, you're just going to be repeating something over to yourself and not actually changing your belief about the meaning. And finally, one of the most important ways you can brainwash yourself positively is actually by auditing the different media you consume throughout the day. You don't actually have to be in theta wave state in order to reprogram and brainwash yourself, but you can get a lot more done in that period. However, you're still being brainwashed to a different degree in your regular functioning state. For example, if you are constantly looking at the news and all you're seeing is headlines about how dangerous the coronavirus is and how people are dying, you might start to be brainwashed into thinking that, oh my God, the world is ending. Now, while it's absolutely important to be informed and to know what's going on, there's a point in which you're consuming more than you need and it's not serving you. It's just making you more and more afraid, which is actually completely destroying your immune system, the most important part of your body that keeps you healthy and not sick. If you were to replace that extra time you spend watching more media than is necessary and instead watch things like motivational content or spiritual content or self-development content, imagine the difference in the sort of thoughts and emotions you'd be having on a daily basis, because you're brainwashing yourself with positive media, which is going to result in you feeling positive and you feeling happy and you feeling nice, you feeling light. That's how you want to feel, and that's what's going to really make a difference in your life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your feedback, and peace.